Hey everyone, hope you are all doing well on this rainy Monday morning. I wanted to share with you some information this week at the end of this presentation about your upcoming midterm. So stay tuned for that. This week in entrepreneurial marketing, we are going to talk about strategic partnership alignment. I've given you a lot of articles to read and some videos to watch that are supplements to this presentation. So this presentation is not going to be long in light of all of that. And then you will have a discussion board due this week. So let's jump on in. So, strategic partnerships are a great resource for businesses, small, large, or otherwise, who might not otherwise have the resources to do a full scale marketing campaign. So, imagine that a lawn care business would partner with a tree cutting service. Maybe they don't offer that service, and maybe through partnering with one another, they can each offer each other's services to each other's customer base. Makes sense if you think of it on a kind of smaller scale. Today, the brands that we're going to be looking at are on a much, much larger scale, but you get the idea. So it has to be a mutually beneficial partnership that could really help either side increase their sales, increase brand awareness, and so on. So it is a strategic partnership. Well, obviously, we share two organizations, typically two organizations that share similar goals. And as I mentioned, you could achieve outcomes that otherwise you might not be able to achieve by a strategic partnership. And pardon my typo there, long term, it is an effort intensive experience. So there's a lot of effort that goes into maintaining the partnership and to putting out responsible messaging for both. And as an example here, I've got a video for you that I would like for you to watch, please, about the partnership between Taco Bell and Doritos, because it's a very interesting story. I apologize. The video is way annoying, but I do want you to watch it because it is a really good example of how how brands can benefit from one another through strategic alignments. So partnerships can be a double-edged sword. It can be good, it can be bad, because you have to take into account what matters to the other brand. So you can be really, really effective and have stronger results because you're pulling from the brand awareness or visibility of an opposite brand that will help you grow yours, for example, or grow both of yours, ideally. But the challenges are it really does require a lot of trust and really deep, deep collaboration and decision making between the two brands to make sure that everyone is going to benefit. You're going to have champions on either side to make sure that you're out there, evangelizing the brand partnership and really nurturing that brand partnership. And the wrong partner can really damage a business. So here's a video that I've shared for you regarding the worst brand collaborations in history. It is very interesting and very true. A lot of these you might be pretty familiar with, and some you might not be as familiar with. But it's a short video. In this instance, we've got, I think this is Kendall Jenner and Pepsi, handing a Pepsi to a police officer to settle political unrest or unrest in the communities. It was right around the time of the Black Lives Matter movement beginning, and it was very, very tone deaf from the brand. Another example is Budweiser partnering with a transgender woman. That blew up in their face, even though it really did open up their brand to a whole new audience that perhaps they weren't open to before. Their core audience really did not respond very well to that particular ad. So you all probably remember when that happened a couple of years ago. So in order for a brand to decide if they really want to form a partnership with another brand, here's an example of two really absolutely brands that don't have anything to do with each other partnering. It's humorous partnership. But you have Arby's, the sandwich, who thrives on giving people the meat sweats. A lot of their advertising and marketing is very male driven, very male heavy. Going after that carnivore market that they assume is primarily male. And then you've got Old Spice. And so Old Spice branded out their deodorant products as Meat Sweat Defense. I've attached for you here the commercial of those brands collaborating. If you cannot get these links to work within this presentation, I've attached them for you in the content folder so you can watch these videos. So when you're assessing, you have to decide what is expected from the partnership and how is it going to help both sides grow. For this, you would use a SWOT analysis or a PESTLE analysis, as we discussed earlier on in this semester. When you're using a SWOT analysis, this is where you have to find a partner that is strong and makes up for your weaknesses. So I used the example before of a lawn care company. A lot of times, a lawn care company just does lawn care or landscaping. They don't necessarily do like major tree or limb removal or things like that. So that's where you go out and you find a company that does do that. And maybe that company doesn't offer lawn care and landscaping services. So that type of partnership is a mutually beneficial partnership. You have to complement what each other is really good at. And again, if you're talking lawn care and tree care, those two things work together, not against each other. So you're not working with a direct competitor. So you definitely want to avoid partnering with a competitor. That just doesn't make any sense. And also, you will serve those valuable customers out there who perhaps need both services or who at one point might need those services. So here's sort of an example of that. The benefits is that you definitely reduce your risk because you're partnering with somebody who knows how to do something that you don't know how to do. But you're also sharing marketing costs. So it does reduce the cost where there's not a whole lot of resources available. So you reduce your risk. You've got people that have expertise in these areas through partnerships, and you share a lot of those expenses as well. A great example I want to use for you is my organization, MedCenter Health, partnered with WKU a few years ago for us to take over running the WKU Health Services Clinic, which is on WKU's campus. So MedCenter Health actually leases the facility and provides the medical services. Meanwhile, WKU has a great health services clinic for students. Everybody wins. It's a walk-in clinic. Anybody can go there. So, family members, faculty, staff, students can go visit the health services clinic and make relationships with MedCenter Health physicians that will then mutually beneficial for both parties. So MedCenter Health gets new patients. WKU gets a reputable organization to provide healthcare services for their students, faculty, staff, and community. So the risk and reward balance here. So the effort and the reward have to be equal. You can't expect more out of a partnership organization than you're willing to give. So the long-term benefits, I've just got typos everywhere. Sorry, y'all. Long-term benefits have to outweigh those costs, and you have to treat it like multiple major customer accounts. Like this is a very important relationship that you partner with. You all met Sublime Media Group last week, and that is a partner of my office's because my office doesn't have a person or people that do video support. So like we can't go make our own commercials and stuff because we don't have the infrastructure or the resources to do that. So I partner with Sublime Media Group, who then goes out and does those services for me. So it's a win-win situation. They get a nice paycheck from MedCenter Health. They provide services that we need. We have really nice commercials as a result. Everybody wins. So you've got to make sure that relationship, though, it's very important to both parties. So, we want to make sure that they are taken care of. They want to make sure that we are taken care of so that we won't pull those dollars out. So it is definitely, we have meetings with them once a week. It's definitely something that's really important to both sides. So, how to decide if a partnership is right for a business? So, you can write a wish list of what it is that you need. What gaps are you looking to fill? Do the customer philosophies align? Are the ethical standards in line? You don't want to have a conflict with another brand of any type. Is everybody going to benefit in some way? Do the business strengths and weaknesses align or complement one another? And do we just fit? What is the industry focus? How is it that we're going to fit together as businesses? What are the risks also if the partnership fails? What are the opportunity costs? So what are we going to have to, opportunity costs are those things which you might have to invest in the front end to make sure that you get a good result on the back end. So what are those? And is the plan that you have with your partner adaptable if the market changes? So, how to tell if your partnership is really successful? I mentioned before, you're going to have champions on both sides who are out there really pushing this partnership, marketing the partnership, evangelizing the partnership, and make sure that you have really strong feedback systems to be able to hear from your customers and make sure that the partnership that you've built together is working. Also, ongoing measurement, that's just part of marketing anyway. You have to make sure that you can meet customer demands, time constraints, make sure that you have management support, and also make sure that you've defined your strengths early. These are what we're working toward, and map that collaboration process as you go through. So your key takeaways here from this presentation is that partnerships really can accelerate growth, and they can really help quite a bit, although they do come with a measure of risk because it's not just you making the decisions anymore. You're accountable to a whole nother organization, and they're also making the partnership decisions with you. So some people might not want to give up that amount of control. So it's not for everyone, for sure. But it can align strengths and values, and it definitely can be beneficial in that way. But it definitely needs to be managed with a lot of structure. So let's talk about our assignments for the week. So you do have a partnership marketing discussion board that will be due this Sunday. And next week, I can't believe we're already going to be in week 8. It's going to be your midterm. So I'm going to post your midterm for the week next Monday. It will open in the morning, and you will have the week to complete your midterm. It is open note, open book. Obviously, you guys are at home in an online environment, so there's really no way that it can't be. However, it is going to be comprehensive. So we're going to cover everything that you've read, everything that you've watched, everything that you've listened to, seen, and heard so far during the course of this semester. I want to remind you that anyone that receives an A or a B on the midterm will be exempt from the final. So congratulations to you. Typically in my in-person classes, I do allow students to bring notes to help them along with that. It will be, because I know some of you will ask, it's going to be a combination of multiple choice, some true false, some short answer, and maybe an essay or two. So really it's like, while your book is going to help you, and going back and looking at some things that you learned through the readings and articles are going to help you, really understanding the core material that we're talking about to do with entrepreneurial marketing is going to be the core of this midterm. And then when we move on into the second half of the semester is where your big project comes in. So I don't want anybody to stress about that now. I do prefer that you work with a real business. So if you have a real small business or entrepreneurial business that you would like to work with, to do your analysis on this business. Ideally, it won't be the one that you interviewed an entrepreneur for. I'd like you to maybe pick somebody different if you can, but if it has to be that same business, that's okay. And just let me know who you are thinking about for your business, and so that we can make sure that you can get some good information about that business. And we'll talk more about that in the next couple of weeks after spring break. I will outline that for you and talk to you about all what you're going to do for that project. I typically break those projects up into sections so that you're not doing it all at once, so that each week you will have some deliverables for your project, so that it makes it easier for you on the back end. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great week learning about partnership marketing, and I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.